At this hour on CBS Sports HQ, Luka Doncic suffered a setback with his heel and will miss tonight's game against the Kings. Now, Doncic had been upgraded to questionable, but tweaked his right heel during a workout earlier today. That means he'll be sidelined for a fourth straight game. Luka said at shoot-around that he hopes to return on Saturday when the Mavericks take on the Kings for a second straight day. Elsewhere in the NBA, Sixer star Joel Embiid questionable for tonight's game against the Knicks. The six-time All-Star dealing with soreness in his left foot. Our friends at Caesars Sportsbook have Philly as 6.5-point home favorites. Tip-off there set for 7 Eastern. Jimmy Haslam and Haslam Sports Group are in serious talks to buy the Milwaukee Bucks. That's according to The Athletic. The Bucks owner Mark Lazary has reportedly been considering selling his stake in the franchise for the past few weeks. Haslam's no stranger to professional sports ownership. He currently owns the Cleveland Browns and the MLS's Columbus Crew. And the Houston Texans are hiring Matt Burke as their defensive coordinator. That's according to NFL Network. Burke most recently served as the Cardinals' D-line coach this past season. Prior to that, his only DC experience came with the Dolphins back in 2017 and 2018.
So you've reached your destination, but the goal was never merely to get here. Where you've been, where you started, the very roots of who you are. While it may have brought you to this moment, none of that matters today.
It'll be the Chiefs and the Eagles in Super Bowl 57.
Each and every triumph.
You can doubt the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs.
The Eagles have been the NFC's best team all season long.
While few, even the detours.
The Chiefs are going to lose for the first time this season.
The Commanders have beaten the previously unbeaten Eagles.
They all belong to the past. This game is a matter of the future.
We have a heck of an opportunity in front of us, and we've worked really hard to be where we are now, so it's something that you earn. You want to work really hard to take advantage of it.
It'll be a great game, two great teams, and then I get another great quarterback, so I'm excited to go out there and try to do what we can to win against a great team.
MVP caliber quarterbacks leading not just teams, but entire cities to an oasis in the desert. And whether you arrive by land,
Cuts inside the 5, pushes Apollo, drives, scores, Hurts with a terrific run.
or by air,
Mahomes turning right, now left, spinning, trying to keep the play alive, and fires it at the back of the end zone. Caught! Touchdown!
the moves you make over these 60 minutes is all that they will remember.
We ain't ready to go home yet.
So let your play be the statement.
Know your role and shut your mouth.
And rally one more time. Because countless years of preparation all boil down to this. A handful of plays to determine whether you're the headline or the footnote. Whether your jersey is destined for Canton or a box in the garage. A lifetime of wonder or what-ifs. It all comes down to this. At Super Bowl 57.
Welcome to the PickSix podcast show on CBS Sports HQ, presented by the United States Marine Corps. We're in lovely downtown Phoenix, Arizona, the site of Super Bowl 57. Will Brinson, John Breech, Ryan Wilson, and Tyler Sullivan here for our final day of these shows. There's like 48 hours until the Super Bowl kicks off. Could not be more excited. An incredible game coming up between the Chiefs and the Eagles on Sunday. We're going to talk some duos. We're going to talk some awards given out. But first of all, how do you feel about the weather out here, Sully?
Oh, it's great. My hair is fantastic. It's beautiful, right? You can't beat it.
It's a little windier than it has been all week.
We always joke about Brinson's toupee. Who knew that Sully would get the last laugh here? I need to get one now. Jeez.
I would have brought you some of my all-natural hair products if I had any, Sully, but I don't. Let's talk top duos. What do you think, duos? You like a good duo?
I love a good duo.
What's your favorite duo?
Ever?
Ever.
Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates.
Him, not me.
I did not peg you nailing the correct answer.
I'm speaking for Breech.
Robin, we would have accepted. Hall & Oates, fantastic answer. Even better.
Tom and Jerry?
What's that?
Tom and Jerry?
Tom and Jerry's a very good duo as well. I like a nice appetizer duo. Get some apps, some hummus, and some pimento cheese. That's a good duo.
Okay.
Let's talk Eagles top duos, though. Who's your top duo on the Philadelphia Eagles?
I think it's got to be, you guys are probably expecting me to say a kicker. I'm not going to say the kicker and the holder. That would be on brand. I'm going to say Darius Slay and James Bradbury. Look, you've got the secondary. They have been a big reason why that team is where they are right now. And, of course, we all know that James Bradbury left New York, ended up in Philadelphia, had a fantastic year. And, this is exactly what you need when you are playing a team like Kansas City that is probably going to try and throw the ball all over the field. And so what these guys have done this season has been nothing short of amazing. The Eagles have only given up more than 300 yards passing in one game the entire year. So the Eagles secondary has been pretty strong.
And by the way, that one game, that was Dak Prescott on Christmas Eve. You probably didn't know that. That was a fun fact you gave me earlier. I'm going to go with my favorite duo. It's an obvious one if you're Breech. Jalen Hurts and Gardner. I'm not going that way. Come on now. I'm going to take the layup here, Sully. I'm going to take Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown.
I'm sorry, what's his name? A.J. Brown? What's his full name?
Arthur Juan Brown. Swole Batman and Slim Reaper. He also goes by Skinny Batman or something, I think. But anyway, they're
Skinny Batman and Swole Batman.
They're obviously, that's a layup. Breech went on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to go with the obvious one, non-running game version.
Well, I'll go on the offensive line. You're talking about Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey, two of the best that they can do at their respective positions. This duo hasn't given up a sack since the 2021 season. Wow. They're a reason why they are in this Super Bowl. It's a reason why I'm picking them to win this game this weekend.
I'm gonna go completely off script and give you a great duo. A duo of backup running backs, Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell, and I think they're the difference makers in this game, possibly because Miles Sanders on a heater in the playoffs, right? Miles Sanders gets out and runs well, but to close the game out, you need Kenneth Gainwell, you need Boston Scott to perform at their best. If those three guys are an unstoppable force on Sunday, Eagles roll by double digits. How about the Chiefs, Breech? Give me a duo you love with the Chiefs.
Well, I went on the defensive side of the ball with the Eagles. I am going to take the layup here with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey. We're talking about one of the most historically best tandems, not just in regular season history, but postseason history. They've connected in the second most touchdown passes behind only Brady and Gronk, and they might pass Brady and Gronk on Sunday. So, we've obviously seen what those guys have done, and if they're at the top of their game, it is going to be difficult for the Eagles to beat the Chiefs if they don't stop Travis Kelsey.
Yeah, so that was the layup, and I'm going to take sort of a rising tide lifts all boats follow-up. Just in case somehow they stop Kelsey, which seems impossible, I'll take Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster because we've talked about them all week, I have in particular, and the props bets part of it. Those guys could have opportunities to score touchdowns and perhaps easy touchdowns, shovel pass. In the case of MVS, I haven't scored 2 touchdowns.
I'm going to go off the wall here. I like, obviously, the layup of Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes. I'll keep Patrick Mahomes in there. I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes and Chad Henne. It is the best starter backup quarterback duo in the NFL. You have a guy that you can put right in there and go 90-plus yards down the field and keep your team afloat. That's a great duo. That's a great combination.
Look,
Did he steal your answer?
It's really loud out here. I thought he said Chad Henne. Surely you didn't say Chad Henne. That's like saying, my Lamborghini and this Pinto are the best car combo.
There's nothing wrong with the Pinto. Hey, he's a top 5 player in the NFL named Chad. I will give Chad Henne back.
I was going to get weird and say Blake Bell and Noah Gray as backup tight ends. Instead, I'll go Chris Jones and Frank Clark.
Yeah,
if the Chiefs want to win this game, they will have to be aggressive in their pass rush. We saw, and look, I don't want to bring up bad stuff for you here, but you saw Steve Spagnuolo was cooking stuff up against the Bengals. On a critical 3rd down against Cincinnati, he had their coverage. They dropped into cover 2 for the first time all game. They're going to do a lot. When they needed to get Joe Burrow on the ground, they lined up Chris Jones at edge. He will do weird weird stuff with these guys. Move them around, and that's the key. You got to get Jalen Hurts off his spot, make him uncomfortable, and let him make mistakes if you want to win. All right, NFL Honors. How was it?
It was exciting. It was great. I wasn't there. I was covering it online, and it was, you know what, as beautiful as you can say it was.
You know, I want to give a shout out to Kelly Clarkson.
By the way, did you guys hear that Kevin Durant got traded?
What? No.
Busy week.
Did it happen while we were here? Phoenix has been a total circus. Look, I didn't know how Kelly Clarkson was going to do hosting this show. She hit a home run. Let Kelly host it every year. She crushed it. More Kelly Clarkson.
All right, MVP, no surprise. We knew it was going to be Patrick Mahomes. A little fun fact for those people out there who are listening, watching. If you want to know who the MVP winner is, follow the first team All-Pro, because the same people, the same losers, like Pete Prisco, who vote for the All-Pro, vote for the MVP. When Mahomes got 49-50, we knew it would be him. He won MVP. Offensive Player of the Year, Justin Jefferson. Not a shock there. What to you was the biggest surprise, Breach, out of all these awards?
I'll go with Garrett Wilson winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, even though we didn't get the most first-place votes. Look, the Associated Press changed how the vote is done, and every prior season, you got one name, you put it on the ballot, and that's who you voted for. This year, there was a tiered system. Every other year, Kenneth Walker would have won the award because he got the most first-place votes. Not this year. It got stolen from Kenneth Walker. Garrett Wilson's very deserving, though. He had a great season, but that was the surprise to me. They changed the system, and the first year it happens, there's a little bit of controversy.
I'm very happy Brian Daboll won. I've been on the Brian Daboll bandwagon for some time, but I will say this about Garrett Wilson. He was on the set a few days ago, and I asked him about Sauce Gardner, and Sauce Gardner also won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He said early on in training camp, he said, I didn't think it was very good going up against Sauce Gardner because that's how good he was that quickly. He could be the best player in the NFL right now on the defensive side of the ball. So I like the fact that Garrett and Sauce both got their names called.
See, I'm with Breach here. I think it should have been Kenneth Walker that was the Offensive Rookie of the Year. He had the most votes. In any other year that we do this, he is the guy. He's part of the reason why Seattle was able to make it into the playoffs and make a push. Yes, obviously Garrett Wilson is going to be an intriguing prospect, a very elite receiver in this league for a long time. But Kenneth Walker, don't sleep on him either.
Sully hates people named Wilson.
I don't sleep.
That's true.
Tyler.
I feel like this is very disrespectful by you. You're ignoring a very key name on here.
Oh, yeah, Eugene Cyril.
His name.
Eugene Cyril Smith III got what he deserved. He should have been MVP if you ask me, but no one asked.
No, look, Geno Smith, it's funny because we don't see this very often. Usually the comeback player of the year is awarded to whoever overcomes the biggest injury for
Alex
the previous
Smith,
year.
for example.
Right, Alex Smith, the horrible, surgery and all that. The only two times we've seen it, Phillip Rivers in 2013 won comeback player of the year award from coming back from like a bunch of interceptions. And Geno Smith basically won this award for coming back from being Geno Smith. But he had an incredible season. Russell Wilson stunk in Denver. Geno was great in Seattle. Shout out to Geno Smith for coming back from your career. Good job, buddy. All right, let's do a draft of defensive players.
Ooh.
All right, you're first up. You have the first pick.
Oh, actually, no, I've skipped a spot. You want to do draft or you want to do Mahomes?
Well, Mahomes just won MVP. We'll finish that, and then we'll go to our draft.
All right. Mahomes, historically, 2 MVPs. If he wins the Super Bowl on Sunday, he will have 2 Super Bowls, likely 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and 2 MVPs at the age of 27. Tom Brady, according to a report from Adam Schefter of ESPN, has formally filed retirement paperwork. He gone. He done. So, the question is, should Tom Brady be scared, Sully, you Tom Brady stan, that Patrick Mahomes is coming for his GOAT title?
Yes, I think he should.
What?
This is the thing, and Mahomes said that this week. Talk to me when he's 38. There is part of the longevity thing with Tom Brady that is going to be very tough to match. But if he goes over the next few years here and does what we've seen him do over the last 5 seasons, when he's been the starter, they're in the AFC title game, they're at home, and he's contending for championships year in and year out and MVP awards. If all of a sudden he starts to rack these things up, I mean, he's already in the conversation of being a Hall of Fame caliber player. There's only been 12 quarterbacks in league history that have won multiple Super Bowls. He's going to put himself in that conversation this weekend, and you're starting to put him in Big Ben, Eli Manning, all these guys that we assume are going to be Hall of Famers. Patrick Mahomes is now already in that conversation just 5 years in as a full-time
I will just say this, Sully. I think you're right about a lot of things, but what Sully didn't take into account is that if Patrick Mahomes starts to catch Tom Brady, 65-year-old Tom Brady's coming out of retirement to make up the ground.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with that. If the Chiefs win Sunday, Tom Brady might unfile that paperwork and get back out of the field for next season. He doesn't want Patrick Mahomes to catch him. And the crazy thing, when you consider about how dominant Patrick Mahomes has been, is just think about this, guys. On Sunday, he will be wearing a road white jersey for the first time ever in the playoffs. He has never played a road game, and he still won't. This is a neutral site. He has never worn a white jersey in the playoffs, and he has played in 14 playoff games. It is literally insane. If he retired on Sunday, Brinson, is he a Hall of Famer? If they win on Sunday, he retired after the game.
I think he's a Hall of Famer before the game. I think you put him in the Hall of Fame. By the way, shout out to the guys who just, did you guys see that? Go Birds! No, fine, whatever.
I heard him.
Anyway,
they can spell.
I think Mahomes is already a Hall of Famer. I think it's over. I mean, like, if he retired right now, he would. You could take the Terrell Davis argument, right? Where he was so good for such, like, just slice off his career right now. So good, so elite, the best player in football for X number of years. At his peak, you can make a case he's a Hall of Famer right now. If he wins on Sunday, it's over. It's done. He might be chasing Tom Brady.
Or Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford's getting in. So is Phillip Rivers. And you know who else is going to get in? My number one pick.
Oh, who we got?
In our defensive player draft.
All right, let's do it.
I thought about Aaron Donald. I thought about Sauce Gardner. But then I said, who has the number 2 pick? And I said, Ryan Wilson has the number 2 pick.
Here we go, Breech. Hold on.
So give me, I don't actually know what his...
I don't either. Actually, I don't either.
Thomas James Watt.
Thomas Watt.
I don't know if it's Thomas. Whatever TJ Watt's name is, give me TJ Watt.
Miranda,
number 1 overall.
Miranda says it's Trent. So there we go. All right.
Imagine turning in your draft card to the number 1 pick and getting the guy's name wrong.
All right, I have the second pick.
That seems like something the Bengals would do.
I have the second pick, Breech, according to the rundown. So I'm going to go with my man Micah Parsons.
You have a foot fetish too?
All right, you're up, Sully.
All right.
No, actually, sorry, Breech, you're up.
All right, you know what? I'm just going to go with the guy who just won Defensive Player of the Year and go ahead and I'm getting Nick Bosa with the 3rd pick. Gladly, I will take it.
All right, Sully, what do you got?
Sorry, Aaron Donald still plays in the NFL, right? He's not the one that put his retirement.
No. We should clarify for the record. This is like for the next 5 years.
I'll still take him.
You have the next 2 picks. So if you want to take Aaron Donald,
that's fine. I'll go Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett didn't get taken, right? So give me Myles Garrett.
That's a good combo.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Breech, back to you, buddy.
That means I'm up. You know what? I am going to take someone who is playing this weekend. I think he led the NFL in sacks this year. Hassan Reddick.
That's a great call.
So I have Reddick and Bosa.
By the way, you guys are dum-dums. I'm going to take some guy named Spaghetti Sauce Gardner.
Did Sauce almost fell back to me?
Not anymore.
Almost,
You
yeah.
missed him. You missed him.
Let's see. Who do I want to go with here? I got one guy who's in the Super Bowl. I need another one.
And you have back-to-back picks,
I need a quarterback. Give me a. Who do I want a quarterback if Sauce is gone? All I can think about is Darrelle Revis because
you can go Patrick Surtain, Jalen Ramsey.
Oh, that's what I'm doing.
You can go Tariq Woolen.
I'm going Patrick Surtain, and I'm going Chris Jones.
That's a great one.
That's a great rap. Ooh, beautiful rap.
All right, it's back to me, Breech. I'm going to keep it real. He took my TJ Watt pick. I'm taking Cam Hayward, even though he's 35. Breech, you're up, buddy.
I'm just going to turn
That feels like a spite. I took TJ Watt pick.
I love Cam. He still got it.
It's great.
I'm going to go straight and turn into John Lynch. I'm going from John Breech to John Lynch. I'm taking another 49ers player. I'm going Fred Warner.
Oh, that's a great call. That was a great call.
Took my pick.
Sully, 2 for you, Sully.
I saw you staring at that Fred Warner jersey out there. I knew what you wanted.
Give me Max Crosby.
All right.
And give me Jalen Ramsey.
All right.
Strong. Do I have to make more picks? One more pick?
Yep. We're at Breech.
Am I up? I would be disowned by my family if I did not take a Bengals player. So I am going to take
Jim Breech.
Trey Hendrickson.
That's a good one. I like that.
Oh, man. So let's see here. What am I going to do? Breech? Let's see. Oh, another easy one. You took Trey. I'm going to take Minka Fitzpatrick. What are we doing?
You're so jealous of my TJ Watt pick.
I'm going to trade Cam and Minka for TJ. All right, well, last pick of the draft, Breech. Brinson, who is your Mr. Irrelevant?
I want somebody who's malleable, fungible. They move all over the place. Doesn't want to be asked about chasing down or getting chased down by DK Metcalf. And that's Buddha Baker.
Oh, that's a deep
Going
bet.
with the Buddha.
Give me the Buddha.
All right, there we go. We got our
All
teams.
right. Wilson, Ryan Wilson, our senior draft analyst.
Ooh, graduated, Breech.
It's a Friday, buddy. I'm feeling good. If you had to redraft the 2022 NFL Draft, what would your top 5, top 10 look like?
So I'll take my number 1 pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I kept the order the same. Obviously, they took Travon Walker, which was a surprise. Brinson actually knew Travon Walker before anyone. Made Pete Prisco very angry before the draft. I'm going with Sauce Gardner. I just feel like he is that good. And as Garrett Wilson said earlier on set a few days ago, he is one of, if not already, the best defensive player there. There you go. You see the list there. Aiden Hutchinson still stays put. And Detroit, Garrett Wilson helps out Houston. They took Derek Stingley originally. There's no quarterback situation to solve there yet. The Jets get Charles Cross. And you see the list there. And I'll ask you guys here. Brock Purdy, 6 to the Panthers.
This is disrespectful to my guy, Ike Ekwonu.
Unless he can play quarterback.
Ike had a couple rough moments as a rookie.
So any thoughts on the Brock Purdy situation in Carolina? Would you like to see him somewhere else, or he's not top 10?
Is Kyle Shanahan his coach in Carolina?
Fair point.
Because if not, then the Panthers are going 3-14 with Brock Purdy and QB.
All right, let me ask you this, Sully. What do you think about George Pickens going 7th overall to the Giants?
I think you're a Steelers fan and you want to elevate him a little bit higher. I think that's where it really is.
Fair.
But
Six feels a little early for Brock Purdy, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Fair enough.
The rest is pretty solid.
What? Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if anything stands out there to you there. Kayvon Thibodeau to the Seattle Seahawks to get an edge rusher there. Chris Olave to the Jets.
You got 3 receivers in the top 10.
That's the receivers market.
What should the Seahawks do with Eugene Cyril Smith III? We will tell you coming up after the break here on the PickSix Podcast Show on CBS Sports HQ. Next. to the PickSix podcast show presented by the United States Marine Corps. We're in lovely Phoenix, Arizona. The sun is out. The breeze is blowing. The scenery here, it's amazing. CBS Sports HQ, we're crushing it all week. Will Brinson, John Breech, Ryan Wilson, Tyler Sullivan, hanging out, enjoying the weather.
This is not just a breeze, Brinson. This is like gale force winds.
I know.
Yeah, Sully's hair agrees.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Your hair is...
We glue it back on at every commercial break.
He's a glue guy.
Welcome. Congrats. You're the new toupee guy.
Very nice.
Look, the NFL inducted a new group of Hall of Famers on Thursday night. They switched it over. It used to come out on Saturday. NFL Honors on Saturday. Now it's a Thursday show. The NFL, as they like to do, milking every possible moment of press and coverage and financial money as well. The Hall of Fame class. 2 quarterbacks, Rondé Barber, Darrelle Revis. 2 Thomases, bless you, Joe Thomas and Zach Thomas. I have a fun story about Zach Thomas, by the way. And DeMarcus Ware. We also saw Chuck Howley, Joe Klecko, Ken Riley, and Don Coryell. Thank God Don Coryell finally got in. That was overdue as part of the veterans group. How would you Breech? You're a student of the game. You've been watching NFL football since you were just a wee lad. Your dad kicked. How would you rate this Hall of Fame class compared to your average Hall of Fame class?
Well, one, I think it's pretty solid. I'm glad you mentioned my dad because one of these Hall of Famers was his teammate in Cincinnati. That is Ken Riley, who waited a long time to get in. He's top 5 all time in interceptions, very deserving. And he also, my dad played against Don Coryell, who was coach of the Chargers. And obviously, Air Coryell, that offense, such a huge part of how offense football has really been shaped over the past 40 years. Dan Fouts led the NFL in passing 4 straight seasons running Don Coryell's offense. So just looking at the senior guys, that just really feels like a great class. And then, I'll let you talk more about the more modern guys, but I felt like it was a pretty solid class.
You mentioned Don Coryell, and I'm going to tell on Chris Hassel here, but you were there last night at dinner. He thought Don Coryell was the player who played in the 90s. He didn't recognize the name, but that's Chris Hassel. Take that up with him when you see him.
Are you serious?
You got to put it on the teleprompter. Hassel knows everything.
But you mean our head anchor, Chris Hassel?
I don't want to say anymore. But in terms of the players that got in, they, in a lot of ways, Sully, felt like layups. Darrelle Revis, layup. Joe Thomas, layup. DeMarcus Ware, layup. Even Rondé Barber, you might think, well, is he worthy? And you look at his numbers, like, oh, yeah, I remember how good he was. And then finally, Zach Thomas is a case of a guy who got the most out of his abilities and then some, and perhaps some people, not everyone was on board with him getting in this time, but I have no issue with it.
Well, I just want to talk about Darrelle Revis for a second.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about the definitive top corner of his era going into the Hall of Fame. That's noteworthy in and of itself. You have a guy who had 30 pass breakups, or over 30 pass breakups in a single season. Nobody else in NFL history has ever done that since they started recording that stat in 1999. You're talking about a dude that quarterbacks just decided not to throw to him anymore. They're like, you know what? He's on that side of the field. It's all over. He was that with the New York Jets. He was that at other places, obviously with the New England Patriots.
Almost like he was on an island.
It was unbelievable.
When you have your own island, you're getting to the Hall of Fame. That's just
yes. It's a island. There you go.
You think about like the most famous NFL quarterbacks ever. It's Deion Sanders and Revis.
Sure.
Right? Revis deserves to go to the Hall of Fame strictly for his contractual, like the ability for him to milk the most possible money out of his contract, maximize his contract. Now, what happens in the NFL, unlike baseball, there's no 75% plateau that you're going to hit. In the NFL, we max out a class at 5 guys. So, someone is going to get snubbed every year. John Breech. Non-Bengals division, who got snubbed?
Well, the non-Bengal, of course, I would have mentioned Willie Anderson, but I won't because it's the non-Bengals division.
You go Willie Anderson.
I'm going to go with the special teams guy, Devin Hester. I do not think the special teams, you hear coaches say all the time, it's a third of the game, it's an important phase. I do not think the Hall of Fame shows respect to special teams, whether it's punters, whether it's kickers, whether it's kick returners. We're talking about someone who was the best at what he did. This is the Darrelle Revis of kick returners, and he is not getting the respect that he deserves. Devin Hester absolutely should have been in this class.
I was actually going to talk about Devin as well, and I think maybe you change the conversation if you just refer to yourself like they do in high school and college, athlete, if you don't say returner, because you could argue that some of the things that he does are the most electric and the hardest things to do on a football field. I'll go with Patrick Patrick Willis. In a sense, Andre Johnson, who I feel like got overlooked in Houston. Patrick Willis didn't play very long, but he was dominant when he was on the field, play in and play out. His career, I think it went 9 seasons, which feels long enough, and maybe the Hall of Fame is just in his future.
The answer is Devin Hester. He's the biggest snub of the night, and I like a small Hall of Fame. I don't like it when it's the NBA Hall of Fame and everybody gets in and you're like, really? That type of a player? So for me, I want somebody who is the best at what they do, but I don't want to start letting everybody in. So with Devin Hester, he is a guy that legitimately changed the game at his position. You didn't even want to kick to him because he played special teams. We're not putting him in. And meanwhile, we're going to have the conversation about like Eli Manning, who's not the best quarterback of all time. And I don't know you have to say you have to be the best of all time, but you have to put in the work. You have to put in the elite play. And I think Devin Hester had that. I don't know why he's not called.
And we're at the Super Bowl. We all remember the opening play of Super Bowl 40.
I had Devin Hester to win Super Bowl MVP that year.
What a bet.
F you, Rex Grossman.
Oh, my word.
I know. Look, I'm going to go off script. I'm going to get off this list that we were provided of possible snubs, and you know where I'm going.
Torrey Holt.
Torrey Holt. Do you know the list of people who had more receiving yards through their first 9 years in the NFL that's above Torrey Holt?
I don't.
Zero?
I'm going to get 0.
Jerry Rice. That's it.
How'd his career turn out?
Torrey Holt in the Hall of Fame, please. Isaac Bruce is there. Kurt Warner's there. Marshall Faulk is there. Orlando Pace is there. You cannot talk about the greatest show on turf without Torrey Holt. Please put him in the freaking Hall of Fame.
Well, you know, it's interesting because you have Torrey Holt and Reggie Wayne is kind of in that same boat, not numbers-wise. Holt has better numbers,
too.
with the sense where you're that almost third wheel. You don't want to say that because you're a Hall of Fame talent, but you know, Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning, and then Reggie Wayne's over here maybe not getting the respect he should because those guys were just superstars.
So, Super Bowl 57, we got a lot of really good football players out there. I'm going to go first. I'll say that my pick to make the Hall of Fame from these two teams, I just happen to be here. I'll pick first. Patrick Mahomes.
And since we're obviously going this way, I'm going to go Travis Kelce.
And since we're obviously continuing this way, I'm going to go Jason Kelce.
And I'll go Lane Johnson.
Done and done.
So we're done.
Look at us.
4 Hall of Famers playing in the Super Bowl.
All right. That'll do it for us. We have more content coming, of course, your way. Thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. If you like this, you want more PickSix podcasts, check out us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, Chris Hassel holding down the fort. Look at this handsome guy. You might not know who Don Coryell is, but he's good looking, and he's live from Phoenix all week. Watch CBS Sports HQ on Fire TV.
Let's get to that news in 90, and we start with Chiefs star Patrick Mahomes, who took home his second MVP award on Thursday night. He received 48 of a possible 50 first-place votes. Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen receiving the other 2.